Good morning, Empower! It is so good to be here again with you all. You know, it's always exciting to be here, all of us together in Long Beach. You know, for us at Laserfiche, Empower is really the start of the new year. It's our chance to clear the slate, set our priorities, and really set course for the year ahead. And you know, we hope you treat Empower this way too. You know, while you're here with us, while you're here in classes, while you're at the general session, in your conversations with friends, new and old, you know, start thinking about what your priorities will be for 2020. How are you going to go beyond the activities that have gotten you from where you are today to the ones that will power you to where you want to be tomorrow? So while you're listening to the general session today, I want you to keep 3 things in mind to help you develop these priorities. First, think about your customer experience. You know, no matter our role, all of us have customers. If you're in government, it's your citizens. If you're in HR, it's your employees and potential employees. If you're in finance, it's your vendors. So start thinking about and listen for ideas about how you can go beyond to take digital transformation to the next level. But second, once you're providing those digital experiences, what are you going to do with all that data you're collecting? You know, automation, it's not just an end unto itself. So listen for ideas about how you can use that information to power what's next. And finally, think about driving bottom line results. You know, you probably saw all those signs when you were walking down Pine Avenue to dinner last night. It's time to go beyond the paperless office. It's not just about saving paper or saving time. How are you going to create the change that truly drives your organization forward? Well, good luck. You're here in the best place to look for answers to those questions. Empower is the best place to find those answers. Take advantage of everything you'll find here, whether it's in a class, at a networking event, or even in a casual conversation. You never know who or what will spark an idea to help you go beyond to the future of work, so stay open to all of the possibilities around you. So as you're taking note of all those ideas, please share them with us on the Empower app or on Twitter using the official Empower hashtag LFEmpower. Now, to kickstart ideas about how you can take your organization to the next level, I'd like to welcome our first speaker. Chris Wacker is a technology entrepreneur and CEO of Laserfiche. As CEO, Chris sets our strategic vision and drives business growth. He's committed to leading a customer-centric organization. What that means, ensuring that every single one of you has an exceptional, distinctive experience. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Laserfiche CEO, Chris Wacker.
Thank you, Melissa. Welcome to all of you intrepid pioneers into this age of automation and transformation. Thank you for coming. If this is your first Empower, welcome. We're glad to have you. Today and during this week, you'll learn the exciting industry directions and innovations that you've come to expect from us. As always, we will remain true to our origins and vision of Niling to make software that people love to use. We will continue to make all of your lives easier by cutting through the red tape and paperwork to allow information to flow seamlessly throughout an organization. Clearing such clutter doesn't just make us look good and feel efficient. It frees our minds to see beyond and to focus on activities that matter to you. What matters to us is providing you the tools to transform lives far beyond the workplace. It gives us a wonderful feeling. Of course, many of us are transforming the lives of everyone we meet every day. In healthcare, 1 in 13 children is at risk for anaphylaxis related to food allergies. This is a monumental problem. At the Translational Pulmonary and Immunology Research Center, Dr. Indy Randauer is using Laserfiche Cloud and process automation to unravel the mysteries behind the mushrooming problem of autoimmune disease and childhood food allergies. Dr. Indy has one of the nation's most successful practices with a 2,200 patient waiting list. Incredible. That list will shrink as Dr. Indy parses his ever-growing patient database for hidden correlations in patient histories uncovered only through data analytics. Those data sets, housed in Laserfiche, help him to reimagine how medicine is practiced. It changes the treatment approach from a one-size-fits-all to a patient-specific one, where successful system outcomes become successful patient outcomes, all the while preventing the catastrophic consequences of life-threatening food allergies. In the environment, climate change has become a fiercely debated political topic. But in data, there's the power to change the minds of even the most die-hard skeptics. In the United Kingdom, one of the world's preeminent climate scientists, Dr. Ed Hawkins, is using Laserfiche to support the hypothesis that climate change poses a real worldwide challenge. To demonstrate the extent of climate change over time, Dr. Hawkins' team at the University of Reading uses data visualization to analyze more than a century's worth of UK health records to identify patterns. Dr. Hawkins is visionary and ambitious, and beyond this project, he has his eye on building a global climate records database using many hundreds of similar repositories currently in existence worldwide. It's an exciting project, and we're proud to support his efforts. In government, an amazing transformation is happening right here in the city of Long Beach. Last year, we received the award for a citywide deployment of a Laserfiche ECM system. We're automating close to 50 of the city's municipal functions to improve the lives of Long Beach residents. We're helping Long Beach set the standard in large-scale city automation and efficiency. The work of Dr. Indy, Dr. Hawkins, and the city of Long Beach demonstrate the ambition and innovation of Laserfiche users in confronting the challenges facing us as a global community today. We're just as dedicated to facilitating your ambitions by providing you the tools and the methods to visualize your data, to see beyond what is apparent, to automate your processes and aggregate your data, and ultimately to make data-driven decisions. Folks often talk about the promise of digital transformation. At Laserfiche, we're delivering it to you today. Throughout this conference, we'll demonstrate the depth, innovation, and power of the technology we're developing with you in mind. After all, it's not technology alone that transforms lives, people do. Please join me in welcoming to the stage my friend, colleague, and technology partner for over 30 years, Laserfiche President Carl Chan.
Good morning, everyone. Investments in digital transformation is expected to reach up to $7.4 trillion by 2023. $7.4 trillion. To put that in perspective, you could buy enough bacon to fill 12 million cargo planes. Imagine, with that amount of money and bacon, you could make pigs fly. But research tells us that 70% of digital transformation initiatives actually fail. transformation is not just about technology. Successful digital transformation initiatives are often led by a handful of very passionate people. We can't lose sight of the people. Passionate people motivate teams, shifting their focus beyond internal limitations to external opportunities. Studies have also shown us that companies that focus on culture are 5 times more likely to succeed. What does that tell us? It tells us that digital transformation is change management. It is changing the way we plan and communicate. Digital transformation is culture transformation. It is mobilizing and inspiring our workforce. Digital transformation is transforming the human experience. It is adding value to our lives. If we want to look beyond today's challenges to tomorrow's opportunities, we must focus on human-centered digital transformation, putting people first. Human-centered refers to more than just people within the organization, but also we must consider the value that we add to the people's lives outside the company. Here are some familiar digital transformation initiatives: upgrading your ERP, CRM, or your line of business application. Many of us here are probably undergoing similar upgrades today. It may have a more modern interface, easier to use, but will your processes stay the same? Another might be moving your server from on-prem to cloud. You don't have to worry about hardware upgrades, but are your operations still fundamentally the same? All these are great first steps. If they fundamentally do not change your business, we are optimizing, not transforming. Digital optimization is not digital transformation. Have you heard the phrase, putting lipstick on a pig? It's sort of like that, cosmetic changes. What we are really looking for is to make pigs fly. Look for opportunities that allow us to go beyond what are examples of true transformation. Your organization innovates on new products or services or how they're delivered. Los Angeles County is currently facing a homelessness crisis, one of the most complex and pressing humanitarian crises in our history. To combat homelessness, the county issued a technology innovation challenge. Laserfiche is participating in this challenge, creating digital applications that improve caseworker autonomy in the field, improving access to shelter and mental health services, and establishing outreach that tailor interventions based on individuals' needs and history. Another organization doing human-centered digital transformation is Berkshire Hathaway Homestay Companies.
Our focus is to provide workers' compensation insurance, products across a wide variety of industries. We provide coverage across the nation, so we insure, any company in the U.S., and we provide insurance products across multiple different lines of and types of businesses. Our primary responsibility there is providing our policyholders with the products that they need and providing our injured workers with compassionate care, helping them to get healthy and back to work. So as an injured worker is injured, we want to make that process, it's new for them, it's something that they're unsure of. So how can we give better tools, better features, better functionality to our injured workers so that we can make the overall process easier for them, so that their focus is on how do I get better, how do I get healthy, how do I return to work quicker, and not on, when am I getting my check, where is my claim status, where's my doctor's appointment. Being able to provide these things and make that easy for them, there are less things that they have to worry about. We want them focused on getting healthy. In order to go beyond, you need to do what nobody else has done before. And that means taking a risk. That means going and doing something that there is no roadmap for. It's about setting a vision of where we as an organization aspire to be. digital transformation is something that a lot of companies are faced with right now. For us, it's very focused on what are the needs of the customers. And from an agile perspective, we are delivering software so that we can deliver it on a continual basis. And it's been a challenge to shift the company and get us realigned and to change conventional wisdoms, change a conventional thinking on here's how we do things. Going beyond is taking the needs of our customers, understanding what their needs are, how do we help them be better, and delivering the features and functionality they need.
Please join me in welcoming Thomas Zawinski, Head of Business Applications at Berkshire Hathaway Home State Companies.
Good morning, Laserfiche and Power. How are you? I would like to thank a few people first. Carl for the great introduction, Chris Wacker for the invitation, a person I think many of you know, Mr. Jeffrey Green, for asking me to do this. So Jeffrey, thank you very, very much. And then I had to thank the production people that put that video on. They did a phenomenal job. When you think about a digital transformation, it's sort of a cliche that's often overused by many people to try and name what it is they're doing. But when you think about what the true meaning of a transformation is, I think of one word, and that's customers. What do our customers need to be successful? How can we provide them with more value tomorrow than they have today? We want to be able to move to an outcome and product-based model and away from the project and output model that many companies operate on today. And there's a very distinct difference between the two. Focusing on outcomes allows us to achieve something. Focusing on an output allows us to deliver something. But if we don't know what the outcome is, we don't know what the customer wants, that output we're delivering may or may not hit the mark. So focus on the outcomes. Your systems will follow. If you focus on delivering more value and understanding what your customers need, you'll be able to design the systems that fit the need for your customer, rather than hoping if you build it, they will come. When you think about Amazon.com, they release code every 11.6 seconds. Think about that. Every 11.6 seconds across the entire Amazon ecosystem, they are pushing new software. They are pushing a new feature, a new piece of functionality to help their customers. Amazon.com doesn't go down. It's a living and breathing application. It gets updated on the fly. And when you think about Amazon and the value that they provide, for about $100 a year, you can get Amazon Prime. And that gets you free shipping. And what I love about living here in California now is sometimes that comes the same day you order it. You get movies, you get music, and a whole bunch of other things with Prime. And it helps the customer have a much better experience because Amazon's output is driving more business through the site. And so they're focused on that outcome. Now at Berkshire Hathaway Home State Companies, we're going through our own digital transformation. And like many, it's not easy. We need the Evangelist that Carl talked about to really push and drive for this. Anytime you do change, it's going to be hard. But you don't choose not to do it because it's difficult. You choose to do it because you must. The world is evolving. The world is changing. The customers are becoming much more aware of what they need to be successful. We've broken our customers down into 4 types. We've got our engine workers. You saw us talking about that in the video. We have our brokers. They're the ones that are our primary distribution channel. Our policy holders. And then our internal employees. Our internal employees are also our customers. We treat them the way we would treat any other customer. Whether they're external facing or internal, they're a customer to me. So when it comes to the injured worker, our goal is to make them whole. We want to get them healthy and back to work as quick as possible. Going through a workers' comp claim is not an easy thing. So if we can make that process simpler, help them understand it, not have them worrying about when a reimbursement check is going to come, where their next doctor appointment is, who that doctor is and where it's located, when their indemnity check may come if they're out of work for a period of time and we have to cover their wages. We don't want them worried about those things. We want them focused on their health and getting healthier. So how can we improve that so that we can improve the outcome of getting them back to work? We want to ensure that our brokers have the tools they need to effectively sell our policies. We want to provide our policyholders with the best coverage at an optimal price. We're doing this by leveraging data. We're making a big investment in our data strategy. You know, people talk about big data and data lakes, and we talk about those as well, but data is critical to any company. You run off data. At the end of the day, we want to empower our employees to make decisions. We want them to be problem solvers. We want them to solve complex business problems and provide solutions to those. I don't tell people what to code. I bring them a problem. I say, we need to solve this. They're closer, you solve it. So when we talk about empowering our employees, I want the developers, the software engineers, our product owners, scrum masters, making the decisions on how to best solve a problem to achieve an outcome. When you think about going beyond, it's doing something that's never been done before. Right? You need to push past the limits that are in front of you, what people have done before, and say, we can do better, we can do it differently. You have to think outside the box. But in order to do that, you have to take a risk. And to take a risk, you must be willing to fail. Failures are a learning opportunity. If you fail and you learn from your mistake and you make it better the next time, you didn't really fail. You learned. When you think about someone like Albert Einstein, you think about all the successes that he's had. But Albert Einstein failed more than he succeeded. But every time he failed, he learned, and he made the next experiment better, and then the next, and then the next until he got it. Michael Jordan, arguably one of the best basketball players, or the best basketball player ever, and I apologize to any LeBron James fans that may be here, but Michael Jordan is on record as saying he failed more times, he missed more shots, so that when he was put into the position where he had to be successful, he could. But he could only be successful because he had failed so many times. So to truly go beyond, you have to get close to your customer. You need to really understand what it is your customers need, what they need to be successful. What are the features and functionality they want the application to provide to them? You also need to get a tight feedback loop, because if you're not getting feedback from your customers, you're just guessing what they want. You need to get that information back on what you're providing and putting out, because you may learn something that was counter to what you thought. You want to solve their problems to focus on the optimal outcomes, and at the end of the day, come up with solutions that delight your customer. Because if you're not doing it, somebody else will. Thank you very much. Enjoy Laserfiche and Power, and have a good day.
Thank you, Thomas. What a great digital transformation story that goes beyond. Now let's dive into Laserfiche and how it can enable enterprise-wide, human-centered digital transformation. To tell you more, please welcome Justin Pava to the stage.
Thank you, Carl. As Carl spoke to, company culture and innovation are at the heart of digital transformation. And today, we want to show you how we can help you kickstart this transformation. I have seen some amazing things that people have done with the power and flexibility of Laserfiche. Automating processes spanning millions of documents to using workflow to control their coffee maker. No, really, the thread's on Laserfiche Answers. You can go check it out. And that's wonderful. But you start thinking, with all of this power, does that sometimes make it a little difficult to just get started in the first place? All industries have similar needs and similar processes. A records request process for government, course registration for higher ed. And some of these processes, they hit everyone. Everyone has accounts payable. Everyone has HR onboarding. So what I want to talk with you about today, what we're looking into through the next year, is putting out targeted industry prepackaged solutions, having everything together to help you accelerate your own time to value. You can think of this as the evolution of the business process library, but going beyond to the entire suite. Think about this: targeted integrations, targeted dashboards, common reports, user roles, folder layouts, the list goes on. All of these targeted to a particular common solution ready to go out of the box. So let's take an example of a type of this industry-specific solution, Laserfiche Vault. Laserfiche Vault allows financial services and wealth management organizations to use Laserfiche Cloud. As you might expect, there are tons of regulations governing how content can be stored for financial organizations. You have to ensure that everything is authentic. You have to ensure that nothing has been tampered with. Basically, that it's simply not possible to change any content behind the system's back. You know, that's pretty important for financial records. So what we did with Laserfiche Vault is we built on top of records management. So we took the standard records management controls and then built above and beyond them and added additional controls in. And that meant that financial services organizations can use this to validate the integrity of their records without relying on special hardware. And Laserfiche Vault is released and available right now on Laserfiche Cloud. But what if you're not in financial services? Well, consider this. All of this extra regulatory logic in the actual application, pretty much all of it isn't industry specific. I mean, sure, there's some nuances here and there, but really, it ensures that everything has been retained for the appropriate length of time. It ensures that everything hasn't been altered and that everything has been accessed by the right people. Basically, governance, integrity, and privacy. It's all comes down to that. And so that means that this functionality added for Laserfiche Vault can then be taken and applied to other industry regulations as well, to other scenarios. By creating this for one, it then can be used and packaged for others as well. Sure, there are some very specific business and legal elements, and that is what makes Vault a package unto itself, adding these additional elements on top of the applications. And other industries will have their own standard needs, and so you have another package that's the same features, but different amount of these elements on top of it. Now, Vault's actually pretty straightforward. It's some additional requirements, some additional legal considerations on top of Laserfiche Records Management. But when you're talking about process solutions, there is much more going on there. But it turns out they're also all very similar. The core logic for a records request process, what is it? External submission and internal review, some form of approval process and external communication. At its heart, that's the same as higher ed admissions or financial new client onboarding. It all has to do the very same things, and so adding features, functionality, it all carries over. You tweak the specifics, what information you're capturing, what reports are the most useful, and in a lot of cases, the most important, what line of business applications need to be integrated with. But you have that, and now you have another solution, all without relying from building it from scratch. Basically, the core functionality is pretty much all there. The goal now is to make it as easy as possible for you to achieve this digital transformation, to help you get up to speed quicker, whether you're starting with automating your first processes or expanding to your 10th or 50th or 1,000th. You can install a solution module and, it just works. Now, as for the solutions themselves, we've got some in mind, but I want to invite you to think about what you need. Come by the R&D booth in the Info Center and share with us what would get you up and running faster and more efficiently. What would allow you to get your own digital transformation evolution that much quicker? Now, to fully power all this, we also need new functionality, which is the fun part, of course, the exciting new innovations. So let's take a look at those. We're going to talk to you about 4 topics here: file sharing, AI and machine learning, integrations, and robotic process automation. And as we go through them, I want you to consider both the features and innovations themselves, but also how they can fulfill the common scenarios of both yourselves and your neighbors in the audience. And you know what? Since I'm already up here, I'm going to just dive right into the first one. Last year, I showed you a preview of a new way to share content with external users, whether that's colleagues in other departments, external vendors, or even your own customers. And I'm happy to now be able to announce the release of Direct Share. Direct Share allows you to provide content externally in a more secure manner than direct email. And unlike external hosting services, it keeps everything audited, tracked, and managed within your system of record. So let's take a look at how it works. Right here, you'll see that as Anita, I need to send a standard NDA to an external client. So in the Laserfiche web client or the Laserfiche mobile app, I can share it, enter their information, select Direct Share, and provide a message. This is going to create a unique anonymized link just for them where they can access their files. I can set how long the link is available, as well as a password that I'll send to them separately. Now, let's switch to the person this was just sent to. Here I receive an email from Anita. It has a link to my files. All I need to do is click on this, provide the password, and having done so, it brings up my documents, ready to directly download. That's it. I've got my documents. Very simple. Back as Anita, I've received a notification that it's been downloaded. I can view and manage, see if it's been shared, if it's been downloaded. And I can disable it. If it was sent in error, I can make it so they can no longer access it. Not something you can do with email. Now, when I try to go back to it, it's no longer available. I can't access it anymore. And system administrators are able to see the entire list of shared files, disable them as needed, and view all of the activity directly in Laserfiche Audit Trail. This is really exciting, but one of the things I find the most exciting about it is how it takes advantage of modern cloud technology and security. When you're sharing content with external organizations, it is paramount that you take network and data security into full account. And by hosting this on Laserfiche Cloud, organizations simply don't need to worry about it. Now, I do want to stress that Laserfiche Cloud Hosted doesn't mean it's limited to Laserfiche Cloud customers. We're working right now on methods for on-premises or self-hosted customers to share content directly through the same cloud sharing host from their own web client or Laserfiche mobile app instance. It simply won't matter. It will all work the same regardless of what you're using. And we're looking to have that available for you in the very near future. Now, I'm personally very excited about Direct Share, but we've got some more exciting features and innovations to share with you, so I should probably let some more people talk. So, to continue on, I'd like to welcome Tessa Adair to the stage to talk with you about AI and machine learning.
We are living in a world of AI. From smart homes to self-driving cars, and artificial intelligence is at the core of a long list of boundary-pushing technologies. But even if you don't have an Alexa in your living room or a Tesla in your garage, you already use AI, whether you know it or not. In the consumer world, AI is everywhere, and it's here to stay. In my time with you today, I'm going to show you a few of the ways that Laserfiche is delivering on the incredible promise of AI. Within the Laserfiche platform, we're helping you harness AI and machine learning in a couple big ways. First off, we're creating out-of-the-box targeted tools, built and curated by dedicated teams of Laserfiche engineers. One example of how we're doing this is through pre-built solutions for unstructured document capture. If you're like most organizations, it's taking you way too much time and money to manage your unstructured content. Automating processes based around standardized forms or databases is one thing. But what about emails, articles, and all the other less rigidly formatted documents that you have? Even some of the most tech-savvy organizations in the world still struggle with information silos and excessive manual work because their data is trapped inside these unstructured documents. At Laserfiche, we're tackling this problem by adding new intelligent capture capabilities. Introducing the Smart Capture Profile, which leverages machine learning to provide unstructured data capture. For this launch, we're tackling one of the most burdensome examples of unstructured documents, and that's invoices. Creating an automated process around documents like invoices is notoriously challenging because each one might have a totally different format, and yet it's critical that you capture information accurately so you can make payments correctly and on time. As your organization scales to work with a wider variety of vendors, this problem just grows. With smart invoice capture coming soon to Laserfiche Cloud, you can capture critical data automatically with no vendor-specific setup and no zones to draw. Not only that, but you can leverage the algorithm's confidence metrics to route directly for payment wherever possible, eliminating manual touchpoints from all but the most noteworthy exceptions. And the best part is, it's designed specifically for invoices, right out of the box, so it really is just plug and play. That's the power of machine learning. So we're incredibly excited about this new functionality. Please hang tight to learn even more about Smart Invoice Capture a bit later, along with how it can be used and be even more powerful when combined with robotic process automation. Next, I want to talk to you about the ways in which right now, Laserfiche gives you the ability to bring third-party intelligent services seamlessly into your solutions. We're already seeing enhanced searchability and accessibility of audio and video content made possible by automatically adding text transcripts and even translations into multiple languages. By making Laserfiche content accessible, not just across space, but across a wide variety of abilities and languages, you can unleash the power of your content and break down long-standing barriers to inclusive digital transformation. Laserfiche customers can also leverage the next generation of search by adding the ability to search not just within text, but within the content of the images themselves. Known as object recognition, this technology allows you to search for a term like dog and find all the pictures of a dog, even if the word dog isn't written anywhere on that image. At this point, a few of you might be thinking, did she use this example just to show us pictures of cute dogs? The answer is definitely yes, I did. In fact, this one's mine. But back to the point. It's these types of intuitive, fun, and context-rich experiences that we're talking about when we say we're bringing consumer-level experiences to the enterprise. You're used to this experience in the search engines you use every day. Your employees and your customers expect the same convenience in enterprise software. And with Laserfiche, you can make it happen. Another more serious example where we're seeing customers leverage AI services more and more is data privacy. Data privacy standards are evolving rapidly on a global scale. Do you know how you're going to keep up? With Laserfiche as your content and data platform, not only can you build what you need today, but you can also quickly adjust processes as requirements inevitably change. You already use Laserfiche's pattern-based auto-redaction to protect personally identifiable information, or PII, even within those unstructured documents. By combining native Laserfiche redaction and retention tools with the evolving field of AI services for detecting additional categories of PII, you can be sure that your investment in Laserfiche is robust to the rapidly changing global privacy landscape. All this is to say, there's a lot of incredible tools out there, and you can use them to extend your use of Laserfiche even further beyond prepackaged solutions. As a highly extensible platform, Laserfiche is the glue that holds your complex digital ecosystem together. This way, you can have the awesome user experience of tools we all love, like Laserfiche Forms, while also taking full advantage of all that the wide technology world has to offer. With both out-of-the-box intelligent capture and easy extensibility to leverage a full range of current and future AI tools, we're opening up a whole new chapter in Laserfiche innovation. You'll find what you're looking for even faster with comprehensive searchability that goes beyond typical enterprise expectations. You'll be able to take control of your data and even get ahead on data privacy. You'll unlock the information hidden in your unstructured content of all types, giving you the ability to automate what you never could before. And if I know one thing about the Laserfiche community here and around the world, it's that you'll continue to go beyond, to create solutions that we haven't even imagined yet. Next, to talk about integrations, please welcome my good friend, Mccready. Thank you.
I want you to join me on a quick walk outside. Let's go down to the beach because, after all,
who are here in beautiful Long Beach, California. And I want you to imagine and visualize yourself playing with a 2-year-old in the sand, maybe your own child, grandchild, niece or nephew. Now this is easy for me because I do have a 2-year-old daughter, and what my daughter Aurora likes to do is she takes a cup of sand and she pours it into another cup. That's it, hours of fun. Now, watching this as an adult and an integrations product manager, I can't help but think what a lot of us are doing with our data is very similar. We're taking our data and we're just trying to get it from one system to the other, and it takes a lot of time. And that's what our teams at Laserfiche want to help with. We want to help redeem that time, because time, after all, is an unrenewable resource. I can't get more time at the beach with my daughter. And it takes a lot of time at the office to move that data from one system to another. So to illustrate what the teams, and specifically the integrations teams that I work on, are doing at Laserfiche to help you save that time and move data between 2 systems, I want to give you a view into our strategy. Now, we're focusing on 2 areas, and I want to share with you what we've been working on over the last year and what we're going to be doing moving forward. So the first is what you might expect. We deliver direct integrations with software platforms that you use today, and we make it easier to connect and move your data between those 2. So moving that sand from one system to another. Now, for many years, we've had a wide array of integrations with Microsoft, and we've continued to improve upon that in this last year. So I'm very excited to announce that we integrated Office Online directly into the Laserfiche repository for self-hosted and on-premises, or self-hosted and cloud systems. This allows you to edit and collaborate simultaneously with your peers and have all those changes saved in real time without even leaving the Laserfiche repository. Additionally, to Laserfiche Cloud, we added an integration directly with Dynamics 365, enabling you to integrate with their CRM and move your data and your sand between those 2 systems. SharePoint, we've had our integrations with them, and we're going to be improving on them over the next year to add capabilities with SharePoint Online as well. Now, if you were here with us at last year's Empower, we announced our Salesforce integration and Redtail as well. So we have a wide set of CRM systems that we integrate with. And the list goes on with Maps integrations from Esri, archival solutions with SAP, and one I know many of our Fiche friends in the audience in the higher education space will be very excited about, is Ellucian. So we're now a certified partner with Ellucian. Yes. So that's your banner and colleague student information systems that you can now connect with, you will be able to connect with later this year as we release that for both on-premises and cloud. And that's an important distinction that Justin Pava spoke to earlier. As with Direct Share, we're working on making all these integrations available, and we're building them cloud native, but we're enabling and working on the capabilities to have your self-hosted systems call those cloud integrations to enable the sand to move from one system to the other. So outside of direct integrations, the other area is we're building out the tool set, and we're continuing to improve upon the tool set for you to build these integrations yourself. So whether that be the software development kit, or we're adding to our web APIs this year, and we're going to be enhancing those, bringing those to Laserfiche Cloud, but also enhancing the capabilities in our on-premises systems as well through our API gateway there. Or this could be our workflow activities. So connecting with some AI and machine learning systems like available through AWS and Azure, like Tessa talked to. Or perhaps it's taking advantage of our workflow bots that you'll hear about more in just a minute. So with all that, we're incredibly committed to enhancing the integration tools at Laserfiche, and we're excited how you'll go beyond with your solutions. So with that, I'm going to bring up Brandon Bukowicz to the stage to talk about workflow bots. Thank you.
you had more time in your day, what would you do? Would you focus more on the bigger picture? Would you be able to better meet your customers where they are? Or would you just be able to finish your work on time so you have more time to spend with your kids playing in the sand? Whatever it is, I think all of us could use that extra time. These days, powerful automation tools are really enabling us to be more productive than ever before. But some of us are still just spending too much time transferring information from one screen to another, hitting Control-C and Control-V over and over. This is because today's organizations are still struggling to take care of that one last piece of the automation puzzle where things just need to be done by hand. Whether it's one system that's too out of date to communicate with the other, or simply just doesn't play nice with others. Sometimes traditional integration tools aren't enough. But okay, wait, this is kind of sounding familiar. Didn't we just talk about integrations? So for integrating with today's most modern applications, the integration approaches that Ian just went over earlier will absolutely help. But homegrown systems or legacy applications or third-party sites that we still rely on for everyday operations may simply just lack APIs to integrate with in the first place. So how do we go beyond these integration gaps? Well, simple. We'll call on workflow bots, our virtual team members to help offload our manual tasks. Powered by robotic process automation, workflow bots will allow you to unlock more value out of your legacy systems and really enable last-mile integration efforts. Working directly across the screens of third-party applications, workflow bots will complete tedious tasks like filling out forms or copying and pasting data. And as a no-code tool, you don't necessarily need to be a developer to integrate systems together either. And when workflow bots are combined with the rest of Laserfiche's automation capabilities, you get some really powerful solutions. With more accurate data entry, more complete automated processes, and more time to really focus on what matters. So to put this further in context, let's tie into one of the most high-value and immediate processes that organizations often automate, AP invoice processing. And it's really no wonder why many organizations focus on the AP department first. These processes are tied directly to company finances and typically show the classic signs that automation is necessary. Repetitive, high-volume manual tasks that are prone to human error and missed deadlines. However, AP processes can be some of the most complex to automate. Until now. With workflow bots and smart capture capabilities that Tessa mentioned earlier, as part of Laserfiche, AP processes will be more streamlined than ever. From invoice submission to processing to approval and finally updating our legacy accounting system, we'll go through each one of these steps here and see more how workflow bots and smart invoice capture can really help enable the full solution along with existing Laserfiche capabilities. So let's go ahead and start with invoice submission here as the first step. So the first step is pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but can really bring a lot of value. It's about how we receive the invoice from the start. So what we have here is a Laserfiche form that we built out here, and a vendor can simply submit invoices through this user-friendly portal. There's no email back and forth, no manually shuffling files around, just a really super easy way on both sides to submit and receive invoices. So let's go ahead and actually submit an invoice here, fill out the form, and see what happens at our next step. So we'll go ahead and attach an invoice to this form here. We'll go ahead and submit it. And now going to our Laserfiche repository, we can see that the invoice will automatically be brought in here. And no matter what format the invoice was submitted as, it's automatically recognized and analyzed by Smart Invoice Capture. And as you can see, as we open our invoice, its metadata is already populated with key invoice information such as PO number and total due, taken directly from the invoice itself. So this is really amazing technology where the software is already trained to understand invoices and already knows what information is relevant. This way, you can get your AP solution up and running much more quickly. Things will just work, helping save time for your AP team members and your process designers. All right, so populating metadata, this is one thing, but what else can we actually do with invoice data collected? How about protecting against fraud? Pretty common concern for AP teams. So we already have the PO number captured from the invoice. Our invoice could automatically be matched up to the appropriate PO that was approved prior to this process. And if there's any discrepancy between the submitted invoice and the PO, this could just be simply routed for a more manual review. Which brings us to our next step, approval. And as it is oftentimes with money, it really requires the human element to make the final decision. So let's bring in our employees where it really counts. So here, the invoice is routed to the appropriate budget owner who approves or double checks the invoice if any discrepancy was flagged. And with approval streamlined, delays minimized, we're able to maintain a good relationship with our vendors, and of course, help save us money by avoiding late payment fees. So coming to the last step here, finally, we need to update our legacy accounting system. After approval, instead of having someone manually type in information, we can offload this to a workflow bot, where we can effectively close what previously was an integration gap. Workflow bot can automatically open up our legacy accounting system and just fill out the relevant fields with information already captured from the invoice itself. There's no data entry required. It's accurate. Our systems are integrated, and employees can get more time back. And this is really what it's about, enabling powerful, complete, automated solutions that allow your organizations to do more with less. And we're excited to say that workflow bots are available today in the cloud with our smart invoice capture capabilities targeted for next quarter. And you can actually see for yourself today, right now, how smart capture works by going to laserfiche.com/smartcapture. We have an interactive demo page set up here where you can upload your own invoice and see this more in action for yourselves. And of course, be sure to come by and check us out at the Info Center as well to learn more about this. All right, so wrap up the product section here today. We covered a ton of exciting new updates and features. Direct share, artificial intelligence, integrations, robotic process automation. With all of these and much more, Laserfiche is committed to helping your organizations go beyond what previously may not have been possible. Where your organization can continue to push boundaries, and ultimately, where all of us can get more time back and focus on less robotic work. Next up, I'd like to welcome back Melissa Henley.
Thanks, Brandon. Carl and the product team just gave us a lot of ideas about how you can move forward and go beyond to a digital and automated future. So think back to the questions I asked earlier. Do you have new ideas for how you can drive your customer experience forward? What about how you're going to use data to drive change? Do you have new ideas about how you can take your organization to the next level? It's that last question that can be so challenging to answer. Organizations don't change because what you want to do is the hot new thing or cool to work on or interesting. What takes us to the next level, what drives innovation, are those changes that keep our organizations competitive and efficient for the long term. But innovation can seem so nebulous. Whose job is it? How do we prioritize it when we have so many other to-dos competing for our attention? The answer? All of us. We're all responsible for innovation. We're all responsible for going beyond what we've always done. We're all responsible for propelling our teams, our departments, and our companies forward. But how do we get started? Don't worry, our next speaker has some ideas that will transform the way you think about innovation. To introduce him, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Laserfiche CIO and VP of Corporate Strategy, Thomas Phelps.
Good afternoon. I'm really delighted to be here this morning to introduce you to our keynote speaker, Guy Kawasaki, former chief evangelist at Apple and best-selling New York Times author. Many of you know that Laserfiche pioneered the document management industry, back in the 1980s. And similar to nailing Wacker founding Laserfiche, Guy was there at Apple with Steve Jobs when a Macintosh was born. How many of you saw with wonderment Apple's a minute-and-a-half commercial that launched at the Super Bowl in 1984? I remember seeing it when I was a little kid. And for those of you who weren't among the 80 million people across the world to watch it, the commercial was called 1984. It was a watershed moment in the history of personal computing and advertising. And through those early years at Apple, Guy was there as Apple's software evangelist. Now today, Apple is the most valuable company in the world with a market cap of $1.4 trillion. $1.4 trillion. Can you imagine that? Guy, I hope you held on to some of that Apple stock. Once the Mac took off, Guy left Apple. He is now the chief evangelist for Canva. He's a brand ambassador for Mercedes-Benz. He's also a podcaster. And as many of you know, Guy is a prolific author of 15 books, including his recent book, Wise Guy. We're delighted to have Guy join us here today to share with all of you how he has helped disrupt established industries. He will provide practical techniques to truly go beyond digital transformation and drive innovation in your digital business and create value in your personal life. So, for the moment we've all been waiting for, please give a warm welcome to Guy Kawasaki.
It's afternoon. Good afternoon. So thank you very much for being such a nice audience. I'm going to talk to you today about empowerment and innovation and everything I learned in Silicon Valley and Apple. Thomas opened up a deep wound in me because I have 4 shares of Apple right now. I'll show you. Oh, God. That's not that. I want to show you this picture. So this is a picture of the Macintosh vision in 1984. And I'm standing in that upper corner there in the circle. And so Thomas alluded to the fact that Apple's now a $1.4 trillion company. Trust me when I tell you, nobody in this picture ever thought that that was ever possible. And I have kind of 4 regrets about my career at Apple. So number 1 is standing in the back of this picture. Number 2 is I quit Apple in 1987. Number 3 is I quit Apple again in 1997. And number 4 is Steve offered me another job after that, and I blew him off and didn't accept it. And so if I had not done any of those 4 things, well, I might not be here today. So that would be a bummer because I would not meet many of you. Yeah, this is the Macintosh division, 1984. And the most important person, I think, in this picture is, of course, Steve Jobs. One of the most significant aspects of this photo is this is the only known instance of Steve Jobs ever getting down on his knees for anybody. So you should enjoy this moment. Everything you've heard about Steve and Apple is kind of true. Every movie, every book, everything. And whenever people find out that I work for Macintosh and Steve, they always want a Steve Jobs story. So I'll fulfill my moral obligation. So one day I'm sitting in my cube and Steve shows up with someone I had never met before. And he asked me about a company. The company was called Knoware, K-N-O-W-A-R-E. It was an educational software company, knowledge software, truncated to Knoware. And Steve says, so what do you think of this company called Knoware? I said, well, Steve, it's a mediocre company with mediocre products, drill and practice arithmetic, 2 + 2 = 4, doesn't take advantage of the Macintosh graphical user interface, doesn't take advantage of the WYSIWYG, all that kind of cool stuff. Bozo product, bozo company, not important for us. And then he says, I want you to meet the CEO of nowhere. Yeah, so welcome to my life. It was like that. You had to prove yourself every day. It was, many of you have probably learned about HR and motivation techniques, about positivity and positive psychology and reaching mutually acceptable goals and all that focus on positive stuff. Steve Jobs did none of that. Steve Jobs ruled by fear. And I say that with a great deal of affection for that. He drove me to do the best work of my career. He drove everybody in this picture to do the best work of their career. And so, contrary to what you may have learned in your HR seminars, fear is a great motivator. I would not trade these days for any day in my life. This is like getting paid to go to Disneyland. It was a fantastic, fantastic experience. And I learned so much about innovation at Apple. Subsequently, I've been a venture capitalist. I've been an entrepreneur. I'm currently chief evangelist of a company called Canva out of Sydney, Australia. Canva's in the online graphics design service. We make about 4 to 5 million images every day. People use Canva to make 4 to 5 million images every day. So I started my career at Apple. I'm ending my career at Canva. In the intermittent 30 years, I kind of thrashed around, but I'm going to declare victory regardless. So that's my checkered past, and I'd like to bring in the lessons that I've learned in my life about innovation so that you can use it. The theme of this conference is about empowerment, and I have to tell you, it's very, very similar to what we were trying to do in the Macintosh division. And one of the first lessons that I learned about great innovation is that great innovation occurs when people and companies want to make meaning as opposed to simply making money. The lesson that I learned is that if you make meaning, you will probably also make money. But if you start off with the sole purpose of making money, you will attract the wrong kind of people and fail at making money and meaning. Some examples of companies and the meaning that they make. Apple, increasing people's creativity and productivity. Google, democratizing information. Canva, the company I'm working for now, is trying to democratize design, where everybody can create great design. Google, everybody can access information. Apple, everybody can be productive and creative. So the first lesson in innovation is to step back from simply making money and ask yourself, how are you denting the universe? How are you making people's lives better? Because that is the foundation of great innovation. Step 2 is to jump to the next curve. This is a metaphor for how you should think of innovation, because I don't think innovation occurs duking it out on the same curve, to doing things slightly better, cheaper, or faster. I like to use the example of ice. There used to be an ice harvesting industry, Ice 1.0, late 1800s. People would go out to frozen lakes and ponds, their horse, their cart, their wagon, their saw, cut a frozen lake, cut a frozen pond, sell frozen pieces of ice. They harvested ice. 9 million pounds of ice was harvested in 1900. This was much more convenient for their customers. Now, they could store food in a more clean and convenient way. About 30 or 40 years go by, we have Ice 2.0. Ice 2.0 is the ice factory. Think about the advantage between harvesting and factory. Harvesting has to be winter, has to be a cold city. Factory, any time of year, any city. That is a major technological breakthrough. So a factory was not a slightly better harvester. The factory was on the next curve, and then the next curve beyond that is refrigerator. So now with the refrigerator, you had your own ice factory. You had a PC, if you will, a personal chiller. And this personal chiller was much better than an ice factory. You didn't have to live close to the ice factory. You didn't have to have the iceman deliver ice to your house. You could make your own ice. And I think great innovation occurs when you jump from one curve to the next, not to do something better on the same curve. In the case of this conference and your host, I would make the case that we started in this paper world. Then we went to an email world with digitized attachments. And then we went to an automated world, but automated via the IT department. And now, this curve, we're on this automated world, this artificial intelligence world with no code or low code. So we're going from paper to email and digitization to automation with IT, and then automation empowered end users. That's the kind of curve jump. That's the kind of expectation you should have for great innovation. In the business that I'm in, Canva, design started on paper. Pretty soon that design on paper was digitized and sent via email. The next step, of course, was powerful tools like Photoshop and Illustrator, but they were done by professional designers. If you wanted something designed, you had to wait in line for the Photoshop guru or the Illustrator guru or the graphic design department to do it. And now on this curve, it's the empowered end user. Anybody can create great graphics with Canva. Just like you can address your automation and your data and your content needs by yourself. It is about jumping to the next curve. It's not about duking it out on the same curve. The next step is, what I learned, is to eat your own cows. And I realize this is a kind of a tricky thing to say, because you're not supposed to eat meat anymore because of climate change. But the way I mean it is, every company has cash cows. And these cows often become sacred. Let me give you a great illustration. This is an engineer at Kodak. It's 1975. The thing on the desk before him is the first digital camera ever made. Wrap your mind around this. Kodak invented the digital camera. How many of you are using a Kodak digital camera today? Can you imagine the meeting where this engineer went to his boss and said, I have figured out a way so that people don't have to buy film? That is what we say is a career-limiting move. The lesson here is that you have to understand truly what business you're in. What benefits do you provide? Here is what I call the slide of death. You never want to be on a slide like this. I think that Kodak defined its business as chemicals. Chemicals on paper, chemicals on film. You expose the film to light, you expose the film to more chemicals, you produce slides and prints. Polaroid, also in the chemicals business, maybe more instantly, but still in the chemicals business. I would make the case that Kodak and Polaroid were not in the chemicals business. They were in the preservation of memories business. And if you're in the preservation of memories business, it does not matter whether it's chemical-based or digital sensor-based. The lesson is that if you don't get to the next curve because you realize what you're producing for your customers, you will die. Wang was in the dedicated word processor business. Smith Corona made typewriters. If you define yourself as being in the typewriter business, guess what? You don't embrace computers. You don't embrace smartphones and tablets. If you decide that you're the dedicated word processor company as opposed to the communication and information business, you create a word processor and you die as general purpose computers take over the word processing function. You never want to be on this slide. The companies on this slide did not realize truly what business they're in. Preservation of memories, dissemination of information. eat your cows. Kodak and Polaroid should have used their chemicals business to fund their digital camera business. Number four, there is a great song called Don't Worry, Be Happy. But what I learned about innovation is you have to don't worry, be crappy. So this is a Macintosh 128K. It was $2,500 in 1984. It had 128K of memory. And I kid you not, we thought 128K of memory is an ocean of memory. My God, what were people going to do with 128K of RAM? 3 times what an Apple II had. It had a 400K floppy drive. My God, what would people do with 400K floppy drives? And secretly, we were working on a 5 megabyte hard disk. Megabyte hard disk. Roughly half of what one font is today. And I swear, we used to sit around in Cupertino, wearing our Birkenstocks, drinking white wine, smoking marijuana, saying to each other, what are people going to do with 5 megabytes of memory? My God, what are they going to do with so much storage? I learned a very valuable lesson back then. If we had waited for chips to be fast enough, displays to be flat and high resolution enough, for networking to be fast enough, for all the good stuff that has happened to computing, we would have never shipped. I am not saying ship crap. I'm saying when you have jump curves, ship it. Ship it. The first laser printer was a piece of crap, right? $7,000, single-sided, 8.5 by 11 only, slow, Apple Talk network. A piece of crap, but it was a revolutionary piece of crap. It was better than the best dot matrix or the best letter quality printer. It was okay to ship. I hope none of you are in the biotech business, but generally speaking, don't worry, be crappy. The way it works in technology is you ship and then you test. And I'm from Silicon Valley. I'll tell you how venture capital works in a nutshell. Venture capital works this way. You throw a lot of things up against the wall. A small number of them stick to the wall. You go up to the wall. You paint a bullseye around what's stuck, and you say, I hit the bullseye. That's how it works. Don't worry, be crappy. Number 5. Number 5 is my recommendation that it is so hard to find great employees who can help you innovate and dent the universe. You should only focus on merit. Everything else does not matter. The reason this picture is up there is because this is a picture that illustrates about half of the direct reports of Steve Jobs in the mid-'80s. The woman on the left is the moderator, Katie Hafner from the New York Times. The woman next to her is Joanna Hoffman. She was in charge of marketing of the Mac division. If you saw the Steve Jobs movie, Kate Winslet played her character. Woman in the middle, Debbie Coleman, ran the factory. Next woman, Green, Susan Barnes. Next woman, Barbara Kochen, product marketing. Next woman, Andy Cunningham, PR. In the 80s, half of Steve Jobs' direct reports were women. He was way ahead of his time. You hear about how he was an asshole and he was arrogant and all that bad stuff. Steve Jobs did not care about your gender, your sexual orientation, your religion, your skin color, your background educationally. All he cared about was either you were great or crap. That was it. And that's the way it should be. I'll tell you a little story about Steve Jobs and the woman in green. Before Macintosh shipped, we had to select a floppy disk vendor. Steve Jobs and the woman in green went to Sony in Japan to negotiate for the Sony disk drive that ended up in the Macintosh. The executives at Sony told Steve they would not negotiate with a woman. And Steve told Sony, if you don't negotiate with Susan Barnes, you will not have our business. So get over it. And that's why there's a floppy drive made by Sony in the first Macintosh. Focus on merit. It is so hard to get great people. Don't make it harder on yourself by caring about gender, sexual orientation, religion, skin color, and educational background. Focus on merit. Number six is the willingness to polarize people. The willingness to polarize people, that means that great innovation will polarize people. Some people will hate it, some people will love it. Some people love Macintosh, some people hate Macintosh. Some people love Android, hate Android. Love iOS, hate iOS. Love AI, hate OI. Love artificial intelligence, hate artificial intelligence. AR, VR, all that good stuff. Blockchain, cybersecurity, all that stuff. Some people hate it, some people love it. It's okay. The worst case is you're not on the radar and people don't care. This is a picture of a TiVo. TiVo was the first way you could time shift television programs. People like me who travel a lot, we love TiVo because I could save the programs that I wanted to watch and watch them later and skip through commercials. There are people who hated TiVo, large brands and their agencies, because large brands and their agencies spent millions of dollars making ads and placing them so that people with TiVos like me could skip through them. Some people hated TiVo. Some people love TiVo. I'm not saying you should intentionally sort of get up in the morning saying, how can I piss people off today? But you should get up in the morning trying to create something so great, understanding that some people will love it, some people will hate it. That's okay. Worst case, again, people don't care. Don't be afraid of polarizing people. Number seven is that I think many people think that the act of changing your mind is a sign of weakness or stupidity. And I would make the case that it's quite the contrary. It's an act of strength and bravery and intelligence. When the iPhone was first announced in 2007, Steve Jobs said this: our innovative approach using Web 2.0 based standards lets developers create amazing new applications while keeping the iPhone secure and reliable. Let me translate this for you. He's saying iPhone is closed. The only way you can add functionality, Safari plugins. iPhone is closed, 2007. 2008, Apple executives to showcase Mac OS X Leopard and OS X iPhone development platforms at WWDC. A year later, Apple is saying, we're opening up the iPhone. You can write any kind of application that you want. The rest is history. If iPhone were closed, it would have died, because there's no way that a company, the provider of the platform, can possibly provide the millions of kinds of apps that people want. Some people would have said, oh, look how stupid Apple is. They closed the phone and then they opened it. They are clueless. They don't know what they're doing. I would make the case that Steve realized he made a mistake. He went from closed to open, and the rest is history. Don't be afraid of changing your mind. Number eight is not about politics or drugs. Number eight is about positioning. I think this one slide is the key to success in life, in innovation, entrepreneurship, marriage, you name it. This is it. This is the magic slide. Vertical axis measures the degree of uniqueness or differentiation. Horizontal axis measures value. If you're in the far right and low, it means that you are high value but not unique. This is where you're Michael Dell. You slap the same Windows operating system on the same hardware. Valuable, you create a computer, but it's not unique. You have to compete on price. In the upper left corner, you have something that's truly unique. Only you do it, but it is of no value. In that corner, you are just plain stupid. In the bottom left corner, you are stupid, and there are many stupid people with you. In this corner, you have created something that's not unique and not valuable, like buying dog food online 15 years ago, right? So it was an interesting concept. Buy dog food online. It's cheaper because we've disintermediated the brick and mortar store. Dog food is cheaper that way. But then you have to add back shipping and handling. So at the bottom line, it wasn't that much cheaper. And then somebody had to be at home when UPS dropped off the dead cow in the can. So it was less convenient, just as expensive. But then people like me in Silicon Valley, venture capitalists, we fell for this pitch. And so there was Pets.com, MyPets.com, ePets.com, SafewayPets.com, PeapodPets.com. There are 10 ways to buy dead cows in cans. The pitch was, and I ask you to never, ever use this kind of pitch if you ever try to raise money. 300 million Americans, 1 in 4 owns a dog, 75 million dogs. Each dog eats 2 cans of dog food per day. Oh my God. 75 million times 2 is 150 million cans of dog food per day consumed. With my rock star co-founder, how hard could it be to get a conservative, mere 1% of that market? That is 1.5 million cans of dog food per day. And dogs, that's not a boring B2B business where the weekends are off. Dogs eat every day of the year. It is B2C, or more accurately, B2D. So dogs eat 150 million cans of dog food per day. 1% is 1.5 million times 365. Worst case scenario, 500, 600, 700 million cans of dog food per year. My God. Call Goldman Sachs, file for the IPO. That's why there were so many ways to buy dog food online. The corner that you want to be in, as an individual, as a company, as a product, as a service, is this corner. Think of the iPod when it first came out. Truly unique and valuable. It had a UI that mere mortals could operate. It was the only game in town that you could buy a wide selection of music, easily get it, legally get it, and inexpensively, 99 cents per song get it. It was unique and valuable. And I believe all of innovation comes down to this 2x2 matrix. If you're an engineer, you have to make something that is unique and valuable. If you're a marketeer, you have to convince the world that what you have is unique and valuable. This is the holy grail of innovation. Number 9, stolen from Chairman Mao, who said, "Let 100 flowers blossom." Although I don't think he ever did this, let 100 flowers blossom means at the start of innovation, you take your best shot at positioning and branding. Who should use your product, what they should do with it. And then reality hits. And knock on wood, you'll find something that occurs which you did not anticipate, which is, my God, these people who we never anticipated as our customers are using our product, and they're using our product in unintended ways. Now, there's 2 possible reactions at this point. One is, call a timeout. Rent an expensive hotel with a golf course. Take your executives for an off-site and figure out why are the wrong people buying our products in large quantities. The other reaction, which is my reaction, is hallelujah, baby, declare victory. So with Apple, we thought we had a spreadsheet, database, and word processing machine. 0 for 3. 0 for 3. Luckily, we had a product that appealed to graphic designers and publishers. It's called PageMaker. PageMaker saved Apple. We thought we had spreadsheet, database, word processing machine. The market told us we had a desktop publishing machine. No desktop publishing, no Apple. Apple would have died. I think that PageMaker was God's gift to Apple. It saved Apple. And I believe in God, and one of the reasons why I believe in God is there is no other explanation for Apple's continued success than the existence of God. So again, we thought we had spreadsheet, database, and word processing machine. The market says you have desktop publishing machine. Hallelujah. We intended Macintosh to be a desktop publishing machine. That was our passion and our vision. Desktop publishing stuck to the wall. We painted the bullseye around it. We hit the bullseye. Let 100 flowers blossom. Ship it, see where it takes root, fertilize it, water it, milk it. Declare victory. Let 100 flowers blossom. Do not be proud. Number 10. Number 10 is a hard lesson to learn. Number 10 is that a revolution, innovation, is not an event. It's not January 24th, 1984. We shipped Macintosh. Declare victory. Innovation is a process. Think of 1984 to the shipment of the iMac Pro. Yeah, it's like 30 years. I had no idea. I thought we declare victory in 1984. It took 20 or 30 years to declare victory, to actually achieve that. Churn, baby, churn. It means you start with a Mac 128K, Macintosh SE, Macintosh Plus, Macintosh 2, MacBook, MacBook Air, iMac. It keep on going. This is one of the hardest things to learn, is to understand that innovation is a process. It is not an event. Number 11 is to learn to ignore naysayers. As an innovator, you will encounter naysaying. There's two kinds of naysayers. One is by a loser, slovenly, disgusting, pocket protector, Japanese watch, rusty car. You look at this person and you say, you are a loser. That's not the dangerous bozo, because only a bozo listens to a bozo. The dangerous bozo is the bozo dressed in all black, right? Owns a lot of things that end in I. Lamborghini, Maserati, Ferrari, Armani. This bozo, you think rich and famous must parse to smart. So, rich and famous bozo tells me can't be done, shouldn't be done. I should listen to that person and not do it. I'm trying to tell you, you need to learn to ignore that kind of bozo. That's the dangerous bozo, because you might think, oh, this person knows what he's talking about. He says it can't be done. She says it can't be done. I should give up. Don't give up. I think that bozosity is like the flu. How do you fight the flu? You get a shot. You get a little bit of flu, so when you encounter big flu, you've already built up the resistance. Right now, I'm going to inoculate you from bozosity. I think there's a world market for maybe 5 computers. Thomas Watson, chairman of IBM, said this in 1943. I have 5 Macintoshes in my house. I have all the computers he anticipated in the world in my house today. This telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. The device is inherently of no value to us. Western Union, internal memo, 1876. How many of you have used Western Union lately? Yeah, same number of people who've used a Kodak or Polaroid digital camera. We're seeing a pattern here. You know, maybe Western Union thought, oh, you know, the secret, the innovation is telegraphs. And we're going to broaden our market by teaching Americans the Morse code. How hard could that be? And then as Americans get more mobile, we're going to have telegraphs with long bales of wire. And they can string that wire behind their wagons and carts as they get more mobile. This telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. There's no reason why anyone would want a computer in their home. Ken Olsen, founder of DEC. He was a great entrepreneur, great innovator. This is the height of dangerous bozosity. Imagine if you were Steve or Woz, 1976. People are telling you to grow Apple, to make Apple successful, you need some adult supervision, someone who's been there and done that, built a hardware company, someone like Ken Olsen from DEC. It's such a natural progression of thought. So you meet Ken Olsen, you find him in an elevator in Las Vegas at CES or Comdex, and you say, Mr. Olsen, we have a different vision for computing. We think computers should be small and cheap and easy to use, decentralized, not computers as terminals hooked up to a network. Decentralized, small, cheap, easy to use. So small, so cheap, so easy to use, Mr. Olsen. You could have a computer in your house, Mr. Olsen. And Mr. Olsen says, son, there is no reason why anyone would want a computer in their home. If they want to do things like balance their checkbook, they will get back in their wagons, go back to their office, and use DEC running on a mini computer. What's the problem? So before you ruin your life, learn COBOL and come work for DEC. And there would be no Apple, the height of dangerous bozosity, right? Wouldn't Ken Olsen have been a natural advisor for Apple? Don't let the bozos grind you down. I wish I could tell you whenever bozos say you'll fail, it means you'll succeed. That's not true either. But if you listen to bozos and you don't try, you will never know, and that's the worst outcome of all. I have 2 more slides. And I realize I'm running late, but what are you going to do? Not invite me back next year? So, slide number 1. Slide number 1. I'm an evangelist. What can I say? So I just started a podcast. And what I want you to do is I want you to subscribe to my podcast. It is called Remarkable People. And if you want to learn about innovation and denting the universe, I have interviewed people like Jane Goodall, Margaret Atwood, Steve Wozniak, Steve Wolfram, Andrew Yang, Sean Thompson, Leon Panetta. I've interviewed some remarkable people about how they became remarkable. And what I want you to do is take out your iPhone, open up your camera. Don't take a picture. Just put your camera on that QR code, and the QR code will lead you to something that says, would you like to subscribe? So please do that, because I need subscribers. I want subscribers. This is like listen, an opportunity to get 3,000 subscribers? I mean, be still my heart. So do that, okay? And if it doesn't work to put it on that QR code, it's remarkablepeople.com. Okay, end of commercial. You all did this, right? Yeah? I'm going to look at the analytics. I'm going to use AI with automation of data. No code, low code. I'm going to see what you did. This is my last slide. My last slide is the last lesson of the day. The last lesson of the day was when it comes to innovation, when it comes to denting the universe and changing the world and going from paper to email to automation with IT to automation empowered by end users. This is the operative statement. Most of the time you hear it in the opposite way. If you see it, you'll believe it. It's not how it works in what we're trying to do here. The way it works is if you want to see something, you have to believe it first. Some things need to be believed to be seen. If you believe in Macintosh and write software before there's millions of Macintoshes, then you can help there become millions of Macintoshes. Same thing with iOS, same thing with Android. So the way it works with innovation and technology is you have to believe it in order to see it. If you want this world of AI and automation and efficiency and content management optimized to your organizations and your clients' organizations, you're going to have to believe in companies like Laserfiche in order to see it. Some things need to be believed to be seen. And that is the art of innovation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Guy, for those inspiring words. Wasn't that awesome? Yeah, right? Who's going to not worry and be crappy the rest of Empower? So Guy's new book, Wise Guy, Lessons from a Life, is available now wherever books are sold. So if you're looking for something to do before the special event tonight, and you're not going to be meeting us at 5:30 tonight at the Laserfiche sign for the biggest Empower class photo ever, you can download it on your Kindle and start reading. Please join me in giving a big thank you to Guy, Chris, Carl, Pava, Ian, Tessa, and Brandon for all the great information they've shared today. So, how many of you were thinking about the questions I laid out earlier? How many of you have taken notes of action items from the ideas we've shared today? Are you ready to take digital transformation to the next level? Are you ready to use technology to transform lives? Are you ready to take advantage of all Empower has to offer? Don't wait. Share those action items with us now in the Empower app or on Twitter using the hashtag LFEmpower. We can't wait to hear how you're planning to go beyond when you get back to your offices. But first, enjoy the rest of classes today, enjoy lunch right now, and we'll see you back here for the general session tomorrow. Have a great day.